The search for the end-game gaming monitor continues. Whether you buy VA or IPS, you're always making some compromise. Whether it's the IPS glow or low contrast ratio that comes with IPS, or the pixel response time / inverse ghosting issues that come with VA, you're always compromising one way or the other. But what if there is a technology out there that can give you instant pixel response time, individual pixel lighting, and infinite contrast ratio? Well, there is a technology like that out there, and it's OLED. Now, OLED has had issues in the past when it comes to the pricing and the form factor. The manufacturing techniques currently existing don't really make making smaller panels a commercially viable prospect at this stage. However, it does seem like manufacturers like LG and Samsung's been one of the first to get there with QD OLED, but also making a size that is more viable for the gaming desktop. On the other side, LG has also made some progress with their WOLED technology. That's a whole different world of curved screens that can be turned into flat screens. Size is still quite big. You're looking at 42-inch upwards. But overall, these kind of technologies are pushing OLED forward. And the more that these kind of gaming monitors come into the market, the more the prices will come down over time. The more OLED technology will generally become more viable for downsizing into more ergonomic sizes. So, in today's video, I want to talk about some of the very interesting OLED gaming monitors coming up. In my opinion, you should really keep an eye on them and wait for them to come to the market before you upgrade to your next gaming monitor. I will certainly be doing that because one of these panels is something that I have my eye on. It ticks almost every single box in terms of what I want for my gaming monitor. First up in the list is the first one that has come to the market, and it is the Alienware QLED panel, the AW3423DW. The specs speak for themselves. It's a 3440 by 1440p monitor, 175 Hz. It comes with a G-Sync module, which makes the panel a bit thicker, and it has fans, so there's some fan noise, and it's a beautiful display. The design is just incredible. Caveat is, unfortunately, it doesn't have HDMI 2.1, but it ticks every other box. It's priced at £1,099 here in the UK, so it's still quite expensive. But no matter which reviewer you look at, this monitor is better by far than any of the other VA IPS panels on the market. And I'm not comparing it to those bigger OLED TVs that have been converted into monitors, because I just don't believe that that size is viable for a gaming desktop. That's my opinion. If you believe that's a good prospect for you in terms of a gaming monitor, kudos to you. So, should you just go out and buy one now? No. Same Samsung panel is coming up in 4 other known panels to date. The first one I want to talk about is the AW3423DWF. Now that is another scaled down version of the Alienware AW3423DW that I just spoke of. However, this has some changes. So it does 165 Hz instead of 175. They've removed the G-Sync module, which makes the panel a bit thinner, and I think it's the right thing to do. I'm not sure you need a G-Sync module with OLED panel. And it comes with a darker aesthetic, so if the white Alienware doesn't go with your setup, this is the panel to go for. It's slated to be around £899 here in the UK, so about £200 cheaper. So this is something to look out for. Whether it's going to be any less performant than the G-Sync module version is yet to be seen, but I think it will still beat any of the VA IPS panels out there, so it's definitely worth a look. It's another step in making the OLED panel technology a step closer in terms of how much they cost. The next one is the one that is my favorite and the one that I'm looking forward to the most, because the first two that I've spoken of, both the Alienwares, do not come with HDMI 2.1, and I want to have when I spend that kind of money, I want to have the option of knowing that I can plug up my next gen consoles, like the latest PS5 or Xbox, and get the full HDMI 2.1 connectivity functionality, which you do need for those consoles. Samsung's OLED G8, which is going to use the same panel technology going into the 2 Alienwares I just spoke about, is slated to have HDMI 2.1 support. It won't have the NVIDIA G-Sync module, but again, I don't think we need it. It will be a more compact package. I personally like the aesthetics of this more than the Alienwares. Finally, there are 2 other panels that are coming up to have the same Samsung QD OLED panel. The first one is the MSI Meg 32C. And this has got the usual MSI aesthetic, so it's a beautiful looking panel, and it comes with all the MSI gaming cues. So it might be something that floats your boat more than the Samsung or the Alienware. Unfortunately, this one is also slated not to have HDMI 2.1 support. It's only going to be HDMI 2, but pricing, it might be a bit more competitive than the Alienware, and that's always interesting. Then the last one is coming from Philips's new gaming brand of monitors called Evnia. Now I'm going to have to take a moment to actually read out the exact number, as it is with Philips numbers. This is just getting crazy now. 34M2C8600. The Philips Evnia 34M2C8600. Now this is another panel with a very different aesthetic, and it looks quite clean, quite beautiful. The specs are going to be very similar to the Alienwares. There isn't any G-Sync module on this one. There isn't any HDMI 2.1 either. So it is going to be a price battle at the end of it in terms of which one is better. And I cannot wait for these panels to hit the market and for me to choose one of these. So moving on, I'm going to go a little bit into crazy world. It is crazy at the moment, but who knows, in 3 or 4 years time, these kind of technologies or features might become standard. First one I want to talk about is the Corsair Xeneon Flex. Now this is a 45-inch OLED monitor with HDMI 2.1 connectivity and 240 Hz of blistering speed. And it's got a very interesting feature. You can turn this monitor into a curved screen if you want, and then you can bend it back into a flat screen if you want as well. I think it's a bit of a gimmick, and it's going to make the price very expensive. This panel technology is originally LG's WOLED tech, and they are making their own version of a bendable screen coming from the same technology, which will be a 42-inch version with 120 Hz. It's called the LG Flex LX3, and it will be bendable from a flat screen to an 800R curve. How that works in terms of actually the mechanism of, do you just sort of grab it from the side and try and squeeze it? We don't know yet, but we will shortly find out. Within the LG world, the final panel I want to talk about is something a bit more sane, and I would say is going to be LG's competitor to the 5 Samsung panels we just spoke of earlier. This is the LG UltraGear 45GR95QE. This is going to be a 3440 by 1440p monitor at 45 inches, which I think is still bordering on the way too large side, but who knows, it's yet to be seen. This panel may be a better option in terms of pricing compared to the 2 Flex options I spoke about earlier, because this will not be a bendable panel. And that's it for my roundup. Really, I think the LG WOLED panels I spoke of are still a bit far-fetched just in terms of the use case and really paying that kind of price, which I think is going to be quite high, above the £1,200–1,300 mark. The Samsung QD OLED panel, however, is very interesting, and whichever out of those is going to get the HDMI 2.1 is the one that I'm going to buy, provided it isn't something silly in terms of price. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. For more news about monitors and reviews and general gaming tech, please give us a like and a subscribe. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.